It's a leader in tech who is not as resilient as they want to be. In this book, I'm focusing on resilience specifically. There are evolutions in leadership that I take leaders through beyond that. Those will be future books. So this is resilience. I start with resilience because if you don't have the gusto to get up when you fall down or get knocked down or trip, or it's just is too hard to keep on going, then it doesn't matter how adaptable and easeful and fluid you are. So we need the resilience first.
Okay, everybody, welcome back to Living the Next Chapter, the author podcast. And what I love is I get to selfishly have time with people I enjoy talking to. And Michael is one of those because he's already been on my other show, the How to Podcast series. And we've been talking about his podcast journey. And not only is he a podcaster, he's a writer. He's got so many great things. He's got a great website, which we'll talk about as well. And Michael just wants to help people. Like, don't we need that? We just need people who want to help people. And that's what Michael's here for. And he's going to help us today by being on the show. So, Michael, welcome to Living the Next Chapter. Glad to have you here.
Thank you, Dave. I'm happy to be here.
How was that? Was that a good intro? Did you like that one?
That was great.
From one podcaster to another, I know I'm being scrutinized right now by a fellow podcaster, so I want to do my best.
No, not at all. I don't judge.
I love it. Michael, tell everybody, for our audience here who haven't met you yet, where you are in this big world of ours.
I am in Columbia, Missouri, in the United States of America, so kind of middle of the continental U.S.
There you go.
Not exactly the geographic center, though. That's a couple hours west of me.
Oh, really? Yeah,
they have a little plaque.
Oh, they have a plaque and everything?
There's a little plaque. You can pull off to the side of the road and take your photos. Yes,
so
it's
does
over
that
in Kansas.
Exact middle point include then Alaska, Hawaii, all that other? Like, is that also
No, that's the continental U.S.
Continental. Okay, so I'm Canadian. I
don't. No one outside. Probably most people in the U.S. don't even know this. It doesn't include Alaska, Hawaii, Puerto Rico, and all the other islands and things that.
Okay, all right, that makes sense.
We support.
There's probably several American listeners right going now, just shaking their head like, this Dave guy, who is this guy? How does he not know that, right?
There's probably just as many shaking their head because what I said is not technically true in some way or other.
So have you been to the plaque? Have you actually got your picture with the plaque?
I have been there. I don't remember if I took my photo or not.
Okay. There you go. I like that. There's a couple of places, I guess, that are really interesting. Isn't there a spot somewhere in the U.S. where we can go like in 4 different states just by taking a step here or there? Is that right?
Yep. Yeah, it's 4 corners. It's New Mexico, Arizona, Colorado, and I forget the 4th state.
Yeah. Okay. But you can actually, like, within a couple steps, you're in all the different places?
Yeah. It's just, there's a spot where they all 4 meet. And so you can just stand on that spot. It somehow isn't private land.
Oh.
So you don't have to pay money to go do it. At least you didn't when I did it growing up.
Okay. Well, see, we got to add these places to our bucket list, right?
Yeah.
So we can all go there. And then we can come visit you, maybe, as well.
Sure.
Right? You'll take us out for coffee or something.
I'll take you on a hike.
There you go. All right. So if you need to get out of the car, you need to stretch your legs, go see Michael. He'd love to spend some time. He'll talk to you about his writing as well, by the way. But yeah.
Whatever you want to talk about.
Right?
Sure.
Okay. One thing I do want to talk about, because we didn't get to it on How to Podcast, is tell people about what is so uncommon about you, Michael, and your website and what you do, because I'm reading through here. There's a lot of great stuff on your site. Who do you help? What do you do? And then we're going to get into your writing stuff. But talk about your website a little bit and share your skills and talents. Who do you help?
So you could say, Dave, that I am the uncommon hero, not the fixer kind, because you are not broken. I'm a guide and a partner, journeying alongside you as we uncover the invisible dynamics that block quality, stall change, and quietly drain energy from yourself and your teams.
Okay. So are you working with businesses then?
I primarily work with leaders in tech.
Okay.
And so this may be the chief technology officer, the chief information officer, heads of engineering like that, all the way down through the engineers who are writing the code that turn into the products that you know and love or know and hate or know and are frustrated by, depending on the day in the app. Because we're all leading ourselves, even if we don't recognize that we're leading someone else. And almost always there's someone else that views us as a leader and is looking up to us, whether they have told us this or not, and whether we know this or not.
Okay. So how did you end up here doing this? Like, you could be doing anything, right?
How long of a story do you want?
Well, it's a podcast. We have no time limit. We can do whatever we want, right?
The short version is, growing up, I knew I loved two things. One was drawing floor plans for buildings.
Oh, good.
And one was coding. The classic growing up in the 80s kids' tale of parents got an Apple IIe, which meant I got an Apple IIe and used it way more than they did. I taught myself BASIC, so I knew programming, which I was later to realize was not real programming, or there was a whole lot I didn't know about programming.
Yeah.
So I went to school to be an architect and realized that what I really just wanted to understand was how buildings put together, not really build buildings myself. So I had an internship doing architecture stuff that ended up with me writing a bunch of code to make my job easier. And then from there on out, I was writing software.
Okay.
Writing software, testing software, wrote some articles for industry journals about coding for architects because I knew both worlds. And now, 30 years later-ish, I'm writing a book for leaders in tech.
Good. All right. Where are you at in the journey of writing your book?
I release at the end of February 26.
Wow.
Depending how long of a queue you have, it is soon to come out or already out.
We'll definitely have you out for that, in time for that, that's for sure. How long have you been working on this new book?
This book, specifically writing it, has been 3 years.
Wow.
Partly because I rewrote it start to finish 3 times. It's my first draft. I looked at it and I said, this is fine. It says what I want to say and I can do better. So I threw it out, started over, wrote a second draft. This time I said, I want some help with this to see if it's really good yet or not. So I went to a developmental editor who looked at it and said, yep, this is pretty good. And here's a bunch of things you can do to make it even better. I looked at their suggestions and I said, okay, now I know what to do and I'm going to throw it out and start from scratch. So that's what I did, saving parts of a couple chapters.
Sure.
And then I turned in the third draft and my developmental editor said, this is great. This is going to sell a lot of books. I said, great.
That's a nice thing to hear.
What to do. I don't know what to do to make it better. So I'm glad you like this one.
Great. So who's your target audience for the book? Who do you have in mind as your perfect reader?
It's a leader in tech who is not as resilient as they want to be. In this book, I'm focusing on resilience specifically. There are evolutions in leadership that I take leaders through beyond that. Those will be future books. So this is resilience. I start with resilience because if you don't have the gusto to get up when you fall down or get knocked down or trip, or it just is too hard to keep on going, then it doesn't matter how adaptable and easeful and fluid you are.
Yeah.
So we need the resilience first.
How has resilience as a leader shown up for you personally in your own life?
Getting back up every time that I knock myself down.
Yeah.
And pushing through when it doesn't seem like I really want to, or I don't. There's been for me a lot of don't know what to do next. I know there's something different to do. I don't know how to go find it, how to identify what it is. This is not what I want to do. It's what I need to do right now for whatever reasons. And so having the fortitude to just keep going, to keep searching, to keep taking that next step until I've gathered enough data to understand, oh, now I know how to actually choose my next step instead of taking random ones.
Okay. What is kind of the approach for the book? Is this meant to be like a how-to book, a textbook, a companion? Like, what is kind of the tone of the book for a reader?
You can think of it as a leadership self-help book.
Okay.
I take you through 16 tools that I've found / developed through my journey, and then taking the wild, chaotic journey I have into something more refined and straightforward by working with other leaders on this to help you start from, I don't have any idea what to do, to get to understanding what is your particular way to find and sustain resilience. It's going to be different from mine. And while this is a process to go through that I've now found works with many, many people, it's not do step A and then step B and then step C and then step D in exactly the sequence. It's here's a first step that will help you understand what to do next. And all of the way through is identifying what your perfect journey, what your perfect way of making resilience is. To put it in the terms of diets, there's lots of mini diets. Yep. Each of those diets work great for the person who wrote the book and are not going to be perfect for anyone else. Some of them are pretty close for some people. Some of them don't work at all. A perfect diet book for me would say, this is how I developed my diet, what to pay attention to, how to know what foods at which times and which quantities and proportions are best for you. And doing that for finding resilience as a leader is what I have done in this book.
Yeah. You were kind enough to send me off a PDF version of what's coming, so I have an advanced look. There's a lot of graphics throughout the book. It's very visual based. And I love how you format the book. Was that your intent from the beginning, to have it such an easy book to follow through and all the visuals to kind of complement what you're writing about as well?
Yes. What did you love about the formatting, Dave?
I just like, it doesn't feel like, I've seen a lot of books come through with 700 episodes. I don't see stuff that looks like this. Like it feels like something, it feels very businessy. Like it's like something you would see as a handout in a meeting or a class that you'd have somebody coming to speak to your group about. But it just feels like there's so much takeaways. It's like you created it for the reader, which is probably the whole reason. But it feels like it's made in a way that's visually stimulating. It brings you in, and it's not just a wall of words, So that's what I really like about it.
Thank you. And yes, from the start, I knew I wanted to write a book that would appeal to all the learning styles.
Yeah.
So I start every chapter with a short summary, a TLDR of what the chapter is. Because some people just want to know the summary and then I'll figure it out from there. And some people need to have that context to be able to understand all the details that are coming. Then I followed that with a short vignette, a little story about some leader in tech, somewhere from the CTO down to engineers, who are encountering the problem that the chapter is about and finding their way through that gives a hint and sometimes explicitly takes the reader through the solution that I will present. And this is for a couple of reasons. One is story helps us bring the concepts into our world.
Yeah.
So for some people, this is going to be way easier to understand than the wall of words that come after.
Right.
And everything for me has to have a little bit of bling and a little bit of whimsy. So these bring some of that in. And I find as I'm working with people that bringing that little whimsy in, just like Mary Poppins saying with the sugar helps the medicine, or in this case, the work go down.
Yeah, I can see that. I get that feeling as I go through the book as well. As I've been reading, that's if that was your intent, it's working. You've got it. So good job on that.
Thank you. Then this is always followed by, here is the problem and here's your solution.
Yeah.
So this is the meat of the chapter. And then here's how to start doing this for yourself. That's followed by an example of how I do this or how this tool shows up for me. Ways to go deeper in if you want to. And then how to bring this in for your team. Because if you do this just for yourself, your team is going to benefit, no question. Because you'll be a more resilient, more capable leader. If you can then help your team become more resilient, they're going to be better for themselves. And by the way, your team is going to get better and more effective, efficient, whatever business metrics you care about are going to go through the roof because everyone can show up with energy to go and likely more engagement and excitement about life in general, not to mention the work that you need them to do.
One thing, too, I'm noticing as I read through is you break it down into 5 phases as well, kind of like an overarching message throughout the book, and that's kind of like seems like the foundation of what you're talking about. Can you kind of run through the phases for us, just in brief, because we want people to buy the book and as it comes out in February, but just so that we kind of have some context about some of the phases that you're going to take us through in the book.
Yes, the underlying concept in a short number of words to the book is integrating your heart, mind, body, and spirit.
Okay.
And learning how to access the wisdom that each of them brings and the guidance that they offer. For those of us in tech and business in general, I find we're really good at using our mind. For programmers, especially anyone who is trying to make computers or machines do things, computers are all logical. And so we enter that logical frame as we try to translate the squishy world that we live in into crisp and clean. These are the way instructions to go through to create this output that may look very squishy. You can't tell computers, well, you just kind of feel into it and decide what feels right. You have to be very precise.
Yeah.
And a lot of people in tech have told me that the reason that they're in tech is so they don't have to deal with emotions and or people, which is a big paradox because, as it turns out, every technical problem is actually a people problem.
Yeah, that makes sense. You can't divorce the two. No.
No. And even if you're a solopreneur coding in your back room doing everything yourself, you still have customers that are going to buy your thing or that you're offering it to. So you still have to think about them and understand where they're coming from and how they will react and use what you're creating, even if you're just giving it away for free and you don't have tech support, so you don't actually need to talk to any of them. So they're always there.
Yeah, that customer-facing side of what you do, right? If you don't have customers, you're not going to be doing what you do for long. So you do need to be able to put your products in front of people. So there's a connection there, right? And if we don't do that well, it has a trickle-down effect into what we do. That's our creative side that we love doing. We love creating these things. But yeah, you can't lose sight of your customer.
Yes. And if you're in a more typical situation where you have multiple people that you're working with, then you got to interact with them, at least over email or notes slipped under doors or in some fashion, even if you manage to never interact directly.
Yeah.
And when people interact, it's not precise. If I tell you, Dave, this podcast is finished.
Okay, goodbye, everyone. Yeah. Yeah.
It might mean that this podcast has been so fantastic that it is done in a roaring success.
Oh, yes.
Or those same exact words might mean this podcast is such a travesty that it is just aborted, will never see the light of day, and we have to go now find something else to do, and maybe the company's going into bankruptcy. Same words, two very different meanings.
Yeah, interesting. Well, I hope you don't leave that as the second part, as a review for this show, because that would not be helpful. I want this thing to grow. So no, I see that, yeah. And the other thing too is context, and for your audience, they might be thinking one of the two, right? And you don't have control over their response, right? So yeah, that's really, really important. I like that you brought that up.
And that's just 4 words.
Yeah.
Imagine how much ambiguity is involved when we're designing even a simple app like a calculator. There's so much opportunity for misunderstanding between all the people involved in getting that product created and out the door and into your hands.
Yeah, it's interesting. One, on your podcast, does your podcast have a tie-in with your book at all? Like the conversations you have over there on your show, does it kind of support kind of what you're doing as an author as you write this book as well?
They're moving in similar directions. They aren't directly coordinated.
Yeah, but there's some kind of carryover between the two. They support each other in some way.
They do, because everything I do is focused on helping you become more who you are and being able to bring as much of that into everything that you do as you want to.
What have you learned about yourself in the role of writing this book, and as you go through the process of creating this new thing, how have you changed as a writer, as a person?
As a writer, I more easily bring in metaphor and story than before I started.
Okay.
And I'm working with this on just creating shorts independent from the book, focused around metaphors as well. This is something that when I can come up with metaphors on the fly, then I can customize that to what you and I are talking about right now, to your specific situation.
Yeah.
And it's going to be way easier for you to understand than if you have to translate what I'm saying into your frame of reference.
Okay. All right. What are you most proud about as you get closer to the launch of the book? What for you as an author is just this satisfying moment, like to know that this is coming out? What are you so thrilled about?
What's most satisfying for me is all the people who are telling me, as you did, that this book really works for them.
Yeah, yeah. It's a great resource. I think it's one of those books I find I can picture myself in this role, having this book within arm's reach of me. Like not a one and done read and you throw it on the shelf behind you and never to touch it again. This kind of feels like a companion book that, you can have with you all the time.
Yes, there is one of my clients who I've worked with for 7 years now, and she and I have been through this process many times. She was going through the online workbook companion, and when I had asked her if she would go through and give me feedback, because she knows all of this left, right, and center, said, you know all this down cold, so this may be just pretty review. If you could try to remember where you were when you started, 7 years ago to where you are now, that would help me. That would help me gauge how people going through this journey from scratch right now will go.
Yeah.
And when I checked back in with her, she said, Michael, I don't have to remember back to where I was when I started, because all of these are problems right now. Do I have problems focusing on one thing? 100% every minute of every day. So yes, for some people, they're going to go through and be, okay, I've got this 100% and it's down cold and I never waver again. But for most of us, it's constantly going back. It is for me.
I keep going back to the artwork and stuff. You got that little cartoon person character. You see look at their brain and they have a happy face and a heart on their chest. That's kind of a commonality all the way through. Who helped you with all the artwork and stuff? Because it's just, again, I love it, but it really takes you along in the story and what you've written. But who helped you with all the artwork and all the visuals around the book?
Most of the artwork I had created versions myself.
There you go.
For the book and some in previous work that I had done. And none of it was up to the standards of what I wanted for the book.
Okay.
So I found an illustrator and worked with them to refine the concepts where I had. And that character is one that we built from scratch.
Yeah. Does that character have a name for you?
It did at one point. I don't know.
It did? Okay. Okay. All right. It's not you, though. It's not.
It's not me.
Okay.
We worked really hard to make it agnostic across all peoples.
Yeah.
And I look at it now and say, yeah, we did such a poor job at actually succeeding at that. But that's the intent.
I think it's great. I think it's like a companion for me as I'm reading. It's like it keeps popping up on several pages. You're like, oh, there they are again. I like it. I think it's kind of nice. Again, I don't see a lot of visual supported books like this, Michael. I just think it's a really great resource and it's very easy to go through. I feel like I'm safe as a reader. Like I know that you're taking me somewhere just by how it's laid out, right? It's a really, really engaging book.
I'm glad. Simple, safe, and sustainable are three of my watchwords. So I'm glad that the safe at least came through for you.
Good. Yeah. Yeah. Simple concepts, but I wouldn't say this is a simple book. To me, this feels very detailed. This is very well thought out. This has a lot of great information as well, right? So I'm kind of leaning to the positive side of that word. But yeah, I think it's a great resource.
Thank you. It took a lot of work to convey all of this detailed information in a simple way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And you can see 3 years of hard work to kind of map this all out and plan it out for the readers. There's a lot of intention behind what you've done.
Yes.
Yeah. So where do you go from here? Like the book's going to come out early of 2026. I kind of seems like you're leading us to the fact there's going to be more similar type of books in the future. Is that kind of your intent?
The book comes out in early 26. The online workbook, the online companion workbook will be live at the same time.
Good.
And there will be an audiobook more or less about the same.
Good.
There'll be a combination of narration by me for everything except the vignettes, and then a professional narrator for those, because I really wanted those to be acted. And my acting abilities are not as good as I want them to be to make those vignettes really come alive for people.
Right.
And then, yes, there are at least 3 more books after this, because there are 3 more evolutions to explain after this. And I'm going through evolution number 5 right now. So once I get through that, there will be another book after that.
That's good. See, I think that's another part of why I have my show and the name of my show, Living Your Next Chapter, because my listeners are always like, when they find a great author and a great resource, they're like, oh, Dave, please ask them if there's more, because I just want to follow the journey of this author, and I love the value that they bring to what they write, and I just want to know that there's more down the road that I can look forward to. So it's good to hear that. We don't want to rush, right? We want to celebrate this launch of this book and give it its due, but at the same time, we're like, I hope there's more, because I love it. So
yes, there will be more books, and there's also join my newsletter. You'll get notified of every episode of podcast that comes out, which, as you said, is in a similar vein.
Yeah.
And other articles, narrations that I put out will go there as well.
Good. It's kind of like you have this big master plan to take over the world, Michael. Podcast, author, website, helping people. It's like you got this all mapped out somewhere. You're like some kind of interesting genius here. I'm like watching you carefully.
I would say it's more, there was a company, I think they're still around, BASF, when I was growing up, that their motto was, we don't make the products you sell, you buy, we make the products you buy better.
Better. I like that. Yeah.
I don't make the apps you buy. I'm not going to take over the world. I help the people who make the apps you buy make them better.
That's good. That's a good reference, Michael. I like that. I remember those commercials so well. What does this company do? Well, yeah, that's really good. Okay, so Michael, for the book launch, when is the book available for pre-order? Is it available now?
It's not available yet. The best way to know when it is available is to join my newsletter.
There you go. Tell everybody, Michael, where do we go? Because I want to sign up for that too.
The simple thing is go to theresilienttechleader.com. Okay. So the title of the book.com. That will redirect you to my main website where you can sign up for my newsletter and get all the other good stuff. Simple.
The Resilient Tech Leader. Exciting to have you on, Michael. And the fact that I had you twice, once on the How to Podcast series, everyone can listen to that as well. A great companion to this episode. Get to know more about Michael and his podcast, specifically in his journey. But now to have the book as well, a lot of great resources, Michael. Do you do any kind of speaking or like team leads or like leading a group around this topic as well?
I mostly work one-on-one.
One-on-one, okay.
And I will help you, as I work with you one-on-one, facilitate group discussions with your team or larger groups, if you'd like to do that.
All right. Is there a kind of a way for us to connect with you to see if we're a good fit for a one-on-one conversation?
Yes, you can go to email me at michael@uncommonteams.com.
Okay.
And there's a contact form on my website.
All right.
And all the contact information is there as well.
Michael, thank you so much for being part of the show. Congratulations on your book. Visually stimulating, great information. It's really going to help a lot of people. And I'm excited to see your journey and watch it unfold. I'd love to have you back in the future as you work on new projects. We got to get you back, right? Great to have you on the show.
Happy to be back.
Right?
Anytime, Dave.
I love it. Everyone go listen to this great podcast as well. We'll have a link for that as well. I'm asking you to follow and share his show with other people in the tech space and beyond, because there's a lot of great conversations happening on the podcast. As a listener, you probably know someone who would love to have this book. Go through all your LinkedIn contacts, send them a message and tell them about Michael and his new book coming out, because I'm sure there's a lot of great people that could benefit from this book. Michael, well done. Congratulations on your journey. 3 years. It's a long road to get to this spot. Many people don't make it this far. So you've done it. You've succeeded. So congratulations. And we'll be celebrating with you when the book comes out. So way to go. Good stuff.
Thank you, Dave.
Excellent. Everyone, all information as always for Michael in the show notes. Go ahead and give him all your love. Buy lots of copies. Leave great reviews. And Michael would love to hear your comments and thoughts about the book as well. Michael, take care. Thank you so much. We'll talk again soon.
Thanks, Dave.
Hey, thank you so much again for pressing play. As you've heard, great guests on the show. And one thing you didn't hear in this conversation is what? What did you not hear? Think about it for a second. That's right. Not a single solitary commercial for a mattress or a supplement or a whatever you call it. No. Why? Because we don't want to break up the conversation with commercials. So the fact that you're still here means that you are a fan of the show, I'm assuming. So if you want to help to keep the podcast going and to make me feel really happy, all I really care about is coffee, okay? I just got to be honest. I love coffee. I'm drinking one right now. It's starting to get cold. I need to warm it up. Helping us with our Buy Me a Coffee link over at livingthenextchapter.com and also in the show notes helps kind of keep the lights on around here. Remember, I'm doing this for free. I'm paying for everything. So I would love to have a little coffee donation, even $5 kind of fills up my cup. And I would love to enjoy a coffee from you. So if you're interested, again, thank you for listening. But you can use our Buy Me a Coffee link and fill up the cup. Thanks for being here.